Hey guys, this is Mr. H here. At this point, you should have already gone on to formative.com and completed the set one questions. If you have not done so, go ahead, pause this video, get over to formative and do those questions. Now, for everybody else, let's go ahead and get going. So, you've probably already seen a number of pictures that show up looking like this. These are how we depict a standing wave. So, these positions here are your antinodes. So like if this was your slinky, these would be the spots that would be wiggling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, okay? And then these spots here would be the spots that are not moving. We would call those our nodes. Okay, so if you answered those first set of formative questions, they looked something like this. You're gonna go ahead and find the amplitude of those standing waves. I believe those waves on the troughs dropped down to here and the crests went up to here. Okay, so for this, your amplitude is not going to be 20. Okay, remember the amplitude is just the height of the crest or the depth of the trough. So these went up 10 centimeters from the rest point or down 10 centimeters from the rest point. So we're looking at 10 centimeters for the amplitude there, okay? For question 2, wavelength. Okay, wavelength, if you know that this waveform here, this is if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 antinodes. So you've got 5 spots that move a lot, okay? And the length of this entire waveform is 2.5 meters. That means that each of these antinodes is 0.5 meters long, okay? So if that's the case, well, we know already that you need 2 antinodes to make a full wavelength. So this would be 0.5 meters and then another 0.5 here. So you're looking at 1 meter as your wavelength, okay? Pretty straightforward there. And then for the third one here, how many nodes does this standing wave have? So we already kind of hit that, but that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, because this is the 5th harmonic, okay? So all you have to do is take the harmonic number or the number of antinodes and add 1. So this would be 6 nodes. So nothing too crazy there. All right, so here's what I really wanted to look at though, was this train car business here. All right, you might be thinking, what the heck are we looking at train cars for? Well, these are a great analogy for waves and wave speed. And we'll talk more about wave speed later. We kind of hit it a little bit yesterday. So you've got, imagine train cars that are each 10 meters long, and 2 of them pass a second. They want you to figure out how fast is this train moving. Okay, well, if you think about it, right, speed, of course, or velocity is distance over time. All right, well, we know the distance, okay, each of these is 10 meters wide and there's 2 of them, right? So we're going 20 meters, okay, and that's going every second. So our speed here is just going to be 20 meters per second. So that's not too bad here, right? All we need to know is the distance that the waves travel, okay, and the time it takes to do it, and you've got your speed. So again, pretty straightforward there. There are times where we can just use the speed equation to find the speed of a wave. No big deal. Now, in terms of another way to sort of think of this here, okay, is when you look at the 10 meters per wave, or per train car, that's kind of like the length of a wave, right? So instead of being 10 meters per car, it's 10 meters per wave. And this 2 cars per second, okay, this is really a lot like frequency, okay? 2 things per second is like 2 over seconds or 2 inverse seconds. You've hopefully seen this before in our notes, okay, because remember, inverse seconds is really the same as hertz or frequency. So the frequency of our trains would be 2 hertz or 2 trains per second, okay? And well, gosh, if I know, right, that I've got 2 trains going by per second or 2 per second, and I know that each train is 10 meters, okay, if I do 10 times 2 over seconds, I get 20 meters over seconds. So what have I really done here? I've done frequency times wavelength, right? The number of things going by per second times the length of those things. So let's do another application here, okay? Let's talk about it in terms of waves. Let's say instead we have a wave that has a wavelength of 5 meters, so every wave that goes by is 5 meters, and 10 of those go by per second. So there's a couple different ways we could do this, right? We could say that our frequency, right, is 10 waves per second, or really our frequency is 10 hertz. Okay, so there's 10 waves going by per second. Okay, we also know that the wavelength, the length of each wave, right, is 5 meters. So we know how long each wave is. Each one is 5 meters, and we know 10 of them go by per second. So what we can say is the speed of our wave, right, is going to be 10 waves per second times 5 meters per wave, which is going to be 10 times 5 is 50 meters per second. Okay, but really what's going on, guys, here is we're doing 10 is our frequency times 5, which is our wavelength. Okay, really what we need to do, if we ever want to find the speed of a wave, all we need to do is frequency times wavelength, or I like to write it in this order, right? Velocity is wavelength times frequency. Okay, and this works for all waves. The speed of a wave is wavelength times frequency. Okay, because really all we're doing is the length of a wave times the number of waves per second. Really what we're doing is meters over seconds. Okay, like what you see here. Okay, so again, if you think of it in terms of that, right, all we're doing is velocity is 5 meters times 10 hertz, and we get 50 meters per second for our velocity. Okay, so that gives rise to the wave equation here, guys, which really the wave equation is V equals lambda f. The velocity of a wave is wavelength times frequency. Okay, so you want to make sure you have that down in your notes. Now, things that we need to talk about here, and I'm going to show you another video with a demo very quickly here. Okay, but when we talk about waves, remember the medium of the wave dictates speed. We talked about this yesterday. The tension in your slinky dictates speed, right? So, if we're moving waves through a certain slinky, right, that velocity cannot change. So really what's going to happen is these two variables, wavelength and frequency, are going to change. And they're inversely related. So what we'll end up seeing here, and I'll show you a demo in a second, is that as your frequency goes up, for example, if you make more waves, okay, those waves will have to get shorter to compensate. Okay, because remember, we're going to keep our velocity constant. Okay, so wavelength and frequency are inversely related. And the opposite's also true. Okay, if you make your waves longer, less of them can happen per second. Okay, because again, the speed of our wave is not allowed to change. It's constant. It's determined by the medium. Okay, so velocity is going to be wavelength times frequency. So stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and throw on a quick demo here with the Slinky to illustrate this exact point about the relationship between velocity, wavelength, and frequency. After the video, jump into the formative and complete these set 2 questions. Thanks for watching. So if you'll recall from the Slinky lab that we did, as you increase the length of your Slinky, you are increasing the tension in the Slinky, which therefore increases the speed of the wave. So for example, right, if I keep pulling the Slinky here to more and more tension, right, if I have a very tight Slinky here, I make a wave, it goes back very, very quickly. If I release the tension, okay, there's lower tension in the medium, that wave moves a little more slowly. Lower the tension a bit more, the wave moves even more slowly, right? So the lower the tension, the slower the wave, okay? So now, let's just go with a set tension here, right? So here's our set tension in our wave. So this determines the speed of our wave, right? So I can make a small wave, I can make a big wave, like it doesn't really matter, right? The speed of that wave is locked in because of the tension of our Slinky. That's a huge idea. Your medium, the tension of your medium, whether it's air, land, water, a Slinky, right? The tension of the medium dictates the speed of the wave, okay? So now remember, the speed of a wave is also equivalent to wavelength times frequency, right? So they are inversely related, right? So if you have a longer wave, you have a lower frequency. So here, for example, right, if I go wave, 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 that's a pretty low frequency. I'm not making very many waves. You'll notice this is a pretty long wave, right? If I up the frequency, right, so I make more waves, let's double the frequency, so I'm going to go wave, 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 right? So I've doubled my frequency. This wave is now shorter, right? So a higher frequency leads to a shorter wave. Okay, why is that? Because the waves can only travel so fast, back and forth, so only so many of them can fit, right? Our speed is constant, so wavelength and frequency are inversely related. Okay, again, if I make more waves, wave, 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 this is a lot harder to do. But again, see, now my frequency is even higher, higher frequency, even lower wavelength. So wavelength and frequency are inversely related, as long as your velocity is held constant. Okay, so wavelength times frequency equals velocity. You're going to do a bunch of practice with this today, and you're also going to see it on the quiz.